Sword Art Online, or SAO for short. This is one of the first gateway animes to a lot of people, and that of the, early 2010s, to be honest. It was also the spark for when that of nerd culture was starting to become more and more prevalent in today's media, after all. The series like SAO basically paved the way for that of current anime to become mainstream on what it is now. I know a lot of people want to say, you're talking shit, or nah, this is bullshit. No way in hell SAO made anime mainstream or popular. Well, back in the good old days before anybody can get on the anime bandwagon and we start getting more and more tourists, but let's make this clear, I'm not gatekeeping or anything like that. Just want to say be open-minded when you watch anime, and don't put it on that of your own personal or biased standards by basically how you were upbringing or your current beliefs right now. That's all. But that aside, before I go on a full-on rant, SAO is important to that of anime culture for multiple reasons. Not only it was the anime studio that basically put, A1 Studios back on the map in Japan. It's also the series that ended up saving the video game anime space after all. The series that was known for that of video game anime, like anime based off video games, was the Dot Hack series. And given that that series was kind of, dead in the water, before trying to make a comeback back in 2015 after all, by re-releasing all of the Dot Hack GU series with that of a sequel and out of the mix after all. But before that, SAO was basically the king on the map. However, that all basically changed. As time went on and, the series got older and anime started becoming more and more prevalent across the world, people looking back at Sword Art Online and realize this show is shit. Or rather, this entire series is shit. Yeah, you heard me. How can I basically badmouth a series that I was basically gassing up to now being absolute shit? That's because it is. It's basically your typical isekai power fantasy with a bland, boring OC and not taking the proper care of giving your OC and a lot of other characters proper development. And even when you basically chef your OC, you still make it feel like it's all about them, though. But I digress. Yo, it is your boy Leon Mookie. And today, I'll be going over that of the things about SAO, from the bad to the good. So basically, I won't be writing down so many horrible things about SAO, but I will be bringing out that of the positive things about SAO. And I'm aware that, I'm a little bit late to the SAO hate train after all. But let's be honest, when it comes to SAO, there's never a wrong time. This series has basically dug its own grave years ago. And I'm just the latest one adding more dirt to the pit. That's all. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? First off, before I begin that of my, criticism and positives about that of SAO, let me bring down that of SAO for that of you viewers who don't know about that of SAO. But for those who do know, you can basically skip on ahead. I'll make a time skip about that of where you need to go if you want to skip it. But for those who don't know, or those who have heard about how bad SAO is and never want to watch it because you've heard how bad it is, let me give you a quick rundown. So, let's begin. Sword Art Online was created by that of Reki Kawahara. It was turned into a light novel series back into that of 2009. It would gain that of several spin-off series like that of Sword Art Online Progressive, and another spin-off series like that of Sword Art Online Alternative, which focuses on completely different stories, but stayed in that of the same world of SAO after all. The main story focuses on that of Kazuto Kirigaya, or as his online name, or the name that he's famous for, is Kirito, as he is a beta tester being trapped in that of the very first, VR full dive reality game known as as the name states, Sword Art Online. However, he would be trapped in that of the game with that of 10,000 players. And the fact, not only that, if they die in the game, they would die in real life. Not to mention, if they are also removed from that of the game from real life, they would also die due to that of the Nerve Gear, basically the, VR headset that allows them in that of SAO, would basically, kill them as well. So the only way to get out of that of SAO is to basically clear every floor of the MMO up to that of the 100th floor and beat the game. Well, given it's an MMO, easier said than done, to be honest. Not to mention, given that you would have to have that of expansions, installments, updates, all that stuff. Ironically, the series never go into that, but I will basically talk about that in a bit. But like I said, the story mainly follows that of Kirito and his time in that of, Sword Art Online, also other, VR games as well, and as he helps out many other people, both in VR and also in real life. That's mainly the premise of that of SAO, to be honest. Now, when you heard all that, you think it all sounds pretty good and well done, right? Well, strap in, bitches and bros and non-binary hoes. Well, you're in for a treat on how this series basically fucked all that up. This is the bad. SAO as a premise, as a series, sounds like a slam dunk. Perfect. An anime that's entire story is based off that of a video game world with a premise where if you die in the game, you die in real life. Where every actions, every reaction, and every technique and skill that you do from every move and ability basically means certain death. And if you don't, you're screwed. It all sounds perfect, right? Well, fuck no, it isn't. Starting with that of SAO, the very concept of that of being trapped in a virtual reality game sounds amazing. The only problem is Reki Kawahara, when he first created SAO, never actually played a single video game. Yeah, that's right. If you could hear a record scratch, that's exactly what I've heard, what I told you. Reki Kawahara, the very creator of SAO, which is an entire video game series, never played a single video game when he made it. But I know what some of you may be saying, but that can't be true. I mean, sure, wasn't he born during the 70s? Wasn't in the golden age of video games was during the 80s, right? Yeah, that's true. The golden age of video games, or the beginning of video games, was during the 80s. And MMOs didn't start becoming more of a thing until that of the early 2000s, right? Well, wrong. The guy never played video games, but he's always watched other people play video games. Not to mention, when he wrote the story, he mainly got that of the basics on how certain MMOs play through that of certain friends who couldn't give him proper explanations, or if they did, he didn't understand them properly. So he basically had to wing it. So throughout the entirety, if you look back at that of SAO and look at from that of a MMO player like me, who also played MMOs religiously back in the day, without the rose-tinted, glasses that I wore back when in my middle school days, you look back and realize there are no classes in the game. Basically, what you would normally play as based on your play style. There are no gamer terms or even that of or actual proper strategy tactics in that of SAO either, like from that of tank, DPS, or that of support. And not to mention, when it comes to boss raids and stuff like that, there are no real gamer terms. There are no real strategies, tactics, or anything goes. Most of the time, it's basically just random stuff that you would see in generic fantasy anime video games or manga. After all, would just say the same old strategy and stuff like that. And I know you might be saying, but that's just stuff that you would see in any other story anime or from that of any others. Isekai or basically video game series, right? Well, no. That's only the worst. I'm just speaking on the behalf of a gamer. Now, let me speak on behalf of somebody who's criticizing story and character development. Because, to be honest, there is no real character development in Sword Art Online. Well, at least for that of the main character himself. Kazuto Kirigaya literally has no personality outside of being angry, internal monologue, or basically confused. Not to mention, the only thing about his personality is that he's good at computers, he's good at coding, he's good at programming, he's good at robotics, and good at basically swordsmanship. In simpler fact, he's everything that a gamer wishes that they could be in real life, but are not. Not to mention, the series basically wants to paint him out as this dark, brooding edgelord that basically knows everything and comes to smart realizations while everybody else acts like that of a dumbass or has no idea what the hell they're doing without him. And even when there are moments where he basically goes through actual character development, it's basically brushed aside a few moments later, and then he basically is back to normal being the self-proclaimed ultimate badass that he always has been. Even in that of the latest season, which was known as Alicization, one of them, which is considered to be one of the best seasons of Sword Art Online, when the guy is out of the picture, can't fight back, or can't do anything without people still find a way to glaze him for no specific reason, and it pisses me off. There's a reason on why everybody during the time when people that criticize Sword Online call Kirito Jesus-kun, because not only he has basically dodged death or basically nearly died before before reviving himself, he is literally perfect at fucking everything, even that of playing games where he never even played, where he plays for the first time, he's already good at. Hell, perfect at, to be honest. All because of certain things that are added in later series, after all. Like, for example, transferring that of your game data or save data from one VR game to another VR game. Even though the game's abilities, stats, and preference are completely different from the original game, which is so fucking stupid. It's like saying, oh, you played that of Call of Duty, now you want to play that of Battlefield, but you want to transfer all of your stats, abilities, and skills over to that of your new game? Well, I can't see why that's not a bad idea at all. When the very thing could basically screw up the code of the game. But the world basically wants to say, oh, it's okay. Since it's a VR game, it totally works. It totally fits. Just because they're made by two completely different developers and studios doesn't mean jack shit. Seriously, they make it out to just basically have him be this overpowered character where everything is convenient for him and him alone. And don't even get me started with that of certain storytelling aspects of that of Sword Art Online. The first half of Sword Art Online mainly being the Aincrad art, which is the very first art of Sword Art Online, is goddamn perfect in the beginning. But over time, you look in between that of the cracks, you see that of multiple time skips for no damn reason. It introduces certain characters that should have an importance, but later on basically are shafted to the side for no damn reason outside of either making Kirito look like a badass or just adding a girl to that of his harem. Oh, speaking of that, the number one thing that really pisses me off about this series is there's no reason for a fucking harem. The dude is in a happy, perfect relationship where he found both in that of the death game with his girlfriend turned wife and love of his life, Asuna. But yet, this guy ends up getting girl after girl after girl to fall in love with him for no fucking reason. The more disgusting part, he even gets his own sister. Now, before anybody even says this in the goddamn comments, I know that technically his sister, Lifa, or real name Sugua, is actually his step-cousin. But they were raised as siblings, they were brought up as siblings, their family sees them as siblings, they even see themselves as siblings. They're fucking siblings, don't even start with that shit. Don't even get me started with that of another aspect of Sword Art Online that they try to basically hammer down in your fucking head, repeat over and over and over again. That the idea that whatever you do in virtual reality in a VR game is just as important and just as meaningful as what you do in the real world. Now, look, as a gamer myself, when you play a game, especially a certain game that you enjoy, have fun with, and basically are devoted to, is amazing. Like for me, for example, I love the Trails series, the Tales of series, and the Xenoblade series as well. Those are my 3 favorite RPG series of known to man. Even certain fighting games like Tekken, Blaze Blue, and the King of Fighters series all basically matter to me deep down. And when there are moments where I feel excited, joy, and pure utter happiness, I grate. But that doesn't affect my time in real life. It gives me a moment of joy, but when experiencing them, it doesn't affect anything that I do in reality. Stuff in video games and stuff in reality are 2 completely separate things. For one moment, it's a great, enjoyable moment with something that I enjoy as a hobby or I'm experiencing with my friends or family, yeah. But then there's real life where shit basically sucks. But then there are some moments in real life that I actually enjoy, but were separate from video games. Neither of the 2 things impacted the other, but they just impacted me instead. They made it seem like everything that you do in the video game is just as important or even better than that in real life. And that very concept is dangerous. It's very destructive, if anything. It basically turns a person into that of a shut-in, or basically rejects that of reality itself and focuses on something that's fucking imaginary. And I know some of you are going to make arguments, but what about that of friendships that you build in video games? Like the joy that you have with others, playing with them and all the stuff like that. Yeah, that's moments you can always enjoy, always experience, and always have fun with. Even if a person in real life, somebody that you knew or close with, dies too, you can still experience and basically remember who they were in game. But you can also remember them, keep them alive and with you in real life too, by remembering who they were as a person. SEO made it seem like you lose them who they were, or lose a person, or basically forget everything about you or or good memories if you are stuck in the real world, which is fucking bullshit. It's that very mindset on why a lot of people think that video games or gamers in general are basically dumbass losers, when that's far from the truth. The series is basically one giant ass stereotype, because it make it seem like the only people that actually have a life outside of gaming in the series is Kirito and those he is close with. And everybody else has no idea what they're doing with their life, and that's what really pisses me off. Oh, and don't even get me started on the villains, because in certain writing materials, like, my god, there are some good villains in that of SAO, but everybody else are absolute shit. In simpler terms, every villain outside of these 2 that you're seeing on your screen are fucking rapists. The series cannot go out without a few fucking minutes to make that of a bad guy a rapist. It's like the only way for that of Karahara to basically express on how bad they are if they don't rape somebody or attempt to rape them. And I'm aware in an interview you say, oh, in his later stories, he has basically moved on from stuff like that. He does not use that trope to basically symbolize on how evil or how bad a villain is now. That doesn't change the fact that you still did it. And you made it into a large majority of your villains that way, without giving them real nuance outside of characters like that of Kayaba, the creator of Sword Art Online, and Def Gun, the main antagonist of Season 2 of Sword Art Online's Gun Gale arc. All I'm saying is, seriously, this guy really does not know how to write people at all. At least a select few of characters he can write. As we get into the good. Now, let me talk about that of the good things about that of Sword Art Online. Which, trust me, it's not going to be a lot. First thing that is good about SAO is, well, animation alone. Seriously, let's be honest. The only real reason why SAO was still popular even to this day is the animation. and fight scenes. Other than that, everything else is absolute dog shit from the storytelling and characters. And the majority of those fights are always going to be that of Kirito base, because everything else or every other fight is either secondary or lackluster. But like I said, I'm going to try and continue being positive. The one positive thing is, well, the side series. Like I said, the spin-off series actually are a lot more better than that of the main story series. For example, like that of Sword Art Online Progressive. It's supposed to be that of a spin-off series focusing on that of the adventures of Asuna and Kirito during the Aincrad arc, when there wasn't tons of fucking time skips for no fucking reason. During these stories, we focus a lot more on other side characters outside of just Kirito, and even Asuna too, and gives us more of a scale on how bad everything was during the Aincrad arc, because to be honest, it was bad during that of, well, the first arc of SEO, but again, we only seen it from that of Kirito's point of view. We never seen it from other people's points of view. And gotta say, it was pretty damn bad, to be honest. Next up, Sword Art Online Alternative, which basically focuses more on that of, well, a completely original cast of characters in SAO's lore, after all. And it focuses mainly in that of the VR game of Gun Gale Online, which takes place during that of Season 2 and early half of Season 3 of SAO, after all. Alternative focuses on that of Kairin, a university student who basically plays, well, Gun Gale mainly so she can feel short, given that she's unnaturally tall for a Japanese woman. And she goes by the, well, ID name, the username Linus, after all, where it basically focuses on her time during Gun Gale, and she ranks up as to be a top-ranking player, while also understanding that of her, well, Gun Gale companion, Pirahu, who has a somewhat connection to SAO. There are even a few more spin-off series of SAO that actually dives more into the lore and world of SAO, and yet they're considered nothing but spin-off series or basically not important to the main story or plot. It gives many of the casts of these stories a lot more depth, and it also adds more to that of the world of SAO that was sorely missing from the main series. The other good thing is Leafa's boobs and Sinan's ass. Moving on. Alicization was somewhat of a breath of fresh air for that of SAO. Basically, Season 3 to Season 4 of SAO. Alicization basically forces Kirito to go back to basics, since he's basically stuck into that of a whole new, well, VR reality actually, where the government bureau he's been helping throughout the entirety of the series basically puts him in to save his life. After all, he has to relearn everything he knew from that of SAO, Alfheim, and Gun Gale all over again. And stuff like that, it made it so much more interesting that Kirito literally was in a foreign land, changing everything, and also struggling. Hell, in fact, time moves so much faster in that VR reality. He was in there for literal 3 years. Hell, it's even stated in later light novels. He gets stuck into a virtual reality for 100 years and masters every form of swordsmanship known to man. I may not like the guy, but I can at least respect his dedication. Once again, Alicization was a breath of fresh air and that was desperately needed for SAO, to be honest. Even though it still basically fell under the same goddamn annoying ass tropes that the past arcs and everything else did too. But even so, it was good while it lasted, to be honest. The next good thing is, well, originally this was going to be a bad thing, but to be honest, I need to at least give this series somewhat of a W win, since it's sorely, desperately needing it, to be honest. And that is that the video games aren't really that bad, actually. The combat and gameplay of that of many of the SAO video games published and made by that of Bandai Namco aren't really that bad. Hell, one of the games, known as Fatal Bullet, which focuses mainly on that of the lore in the world of Gun Gale Online, is one of the best in the franchise in my opinion. Mainly because of several things. The first thing is Kirito is not the main protagonist. You are. The player is the main protagonist and the main focus of the story. Kirito and basically his overlarge harem and side characters are secondary. Unfortunately, every other SAO game basically is, well, stuck with you being as Kirito. Sure, you can customize that of Kirito to make them look like you after all, but it doesn't really help when everybody basically looks at you, sees you, and basically acts like you're Kirito in game. Even when it comes to the story, they still see you as Kirito. So again, it's pointless. But given that the newest, well, SAO game, Echoes of Aincrad, goes back to that of the, well, original player protagonist, like that in Fatal Bullet, proves that there is at least some hope for that of the series in the future, at least in video game format, but anime format, it is trash. There's no saving it or reviving it. But that aside, that's like the only good things about that of SAO I can actually come up with. Well, this is more of a pity point, to be honest. I do love the VAs for it, especially Kirito's VA being Bryce Pattenbrook. Guy is really amazing as a VA and is also a really awesome guy. Totally down to earth, and I really respect him. Oh, but I guess there is one little thing I can basically say a good thing about SAO. It gave us SAO Abridged, which not only basically fixed Sword Art Online, but also made it a lot more bearable by making Kirito actually feel human. So once again, Something Witty Entertainment, you guys will always, and even to this day, are the GOATs. So yeah, those are all the positive things I had to say about that of Sword Art Online, which unfortunately was not a lot. And that's it. This is everything I had to say about that of Sword Art Online, from the worst and from the good things about that of the, well, iconic Isekai series after all. Yeah, turns out Sword Art Online is considered an isekai by both anime, manga, and light novel standards. Who knew? But all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And give me what you guys had to say about SAO, about what you liked about it, and what you despised about it in the comments by liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell notification as well too, if you can. If you want, you can check out my Discord if I haven't gotten rid of it yet. Also, please check out my gaming channel, side channel, main channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, hope you all take care. You know what to do, my lovely Shiro. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other What If content and the most recent What Ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other What Ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mookie.